Dear B, I need you to understand that this letter comes from the very depths of my heart, a heart that has been shattered by the painful necessity of creating distance between us. I've agonized over every moment of silence and every halting step I've taken away from you, and now I feel it's time to share the whole truth, however dark and overwhelming it might be. I know you've noticed the growing distance between us lately, and I owe you an explanation that is long overdue. Please believe me when I say that this separation is not the result of any waning affection or change in my feelings. You still mean more to me than words can ever capture, and my care for you remains as fierce and true as it ever was. I want to explain the circumstances that have forced me into a position I never wished to be in. Life, in its cruel unpredictability, has presented challenges that have driven me to take measures that hurt me deeply. The truth is, I have become entangled with forces far darker than I ever anticipated. There are people in my life, individuals whose presence now casts a shadow over everything I hold dear, whose sole purpose seems to be to destroy the happiness I have found with you. These people are relentless, motivated by jealousy, hatred, and insecurities that twist their perceptions into a venomous desire to see us suffer. In their eyes, the intensity of my love for you is the very reason you have become a target, and I have been forced to distance myself as a desperate means of protecting you. Every decision I've made in the past few weeks has been one of excruciating internal conflict. I have spent countless sleepless nights, agonizing over the implications of every step I take, knowing that any closeness might inadvertently expose you to danger. I want you to understand that I am not distancing myself because I want to. In fact, every fiber of my being aches to be near you, to hold you close and shield you from the world. But when the forces that haunt my life are determined to wreak havoc, even the thought of you getting hurt shatters me. I have come to realize that in order to keep you safe, I must take on a role that is as painful as it is necessary, that of someone who stands alone against these malevolent forces, someone who creates a barrier, even if it means sacrificing the immediate warmth of your presence. The individuals I speak of are not mere acquaintances or random strangers. They are people who have, over time, woven themselves into a fabric of negativity and destruction. Their motives are toxic and driven by envy. Their eyes see every act of love and kindness as an affront to their own miserable existence. They have a peculiar talent for thriving on chaos, feeding on the vulnerability that comes with a connection like ours. They understand that my attachment to you is my greatest strength, and paradoxically, it is also the source of your vulnerability. Every time you smile, every moment of joy we share, they see it as an opportunity to cause irreparable damage. I have witnessed their actions firsthand, their subtle manipulations, the backhanded compliments, the covert attempts to isolate me from those I hold dear, and each act has etched a scar on my soul. I have tried with every ounce of my being to confront these dark forces. I have sought help, looked for allies, and even reached out to people who I believed could help neutralize the threat they pose. It is a struggle I fight daily, a battle waged on both physical and emotional fronts. There are nights when the weight of it all becomes unbearable, when the thought of facing another day without you by my side feels like an impossible burden. I have questioned my own strength, my ability to protect the one person I treasure most in this life. And yet, amid the darkness, there is one constant beacon of hope: you. In my heart, I know that our connection is far too precious to let these external forces dictate the course of our lives. Even as I take these painful steps to create distance, I remain determined to restore the closeness we once shared. I want nothing more than to be by your side, to look into your eyes and explain every detail of this harrowing experience so that you may fully understand why I made the choices I did. The truth is that I never wanted to hurt you, and every measure I have taken has been driven solely by the desire to keep you out of harm's way. I have spent endless hours piecing together the events that led me to this point, reflecting on the decisions that have ultimately forced me into isolation. It is as if I have been cast into a labyrinth of my own making, where every step forward is met with an unforeseen danger, and every word spoken has the potential to betray the very essence of our bond. I have watched as these toxic influences infiltrated every corner of my life, each one a reminder that sometimes protecting the ones we love requires us to stand alone against an unyielding tide of hostility. E. You must know that the decision to distance myself was the hardest I have ever made. It is not a reflection of my feelings for you or a sign that I have grown indifferent to the warmth we share. Rather, it is an acknowledgement of the reality I face, a reality where being near me might inadvertently expose you to harm. I have had to come to terms with the possibility that the people who now surround me are so consumed by their own darkness that they will stop at nothing to tear apart anything that radiates light and hope. And in that light, you shine brighter than anyone else ever has. There are moments when I feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of what I'm up against, when the thought of confronting these enemies seems like an insurmountable task. The isolation is suffocating, and I have often found myself questioning if the sacrifices I'm making are worth the cost. But then I think of you, your laughter, your kindness, the way you make even the darkest days seem bearable, and I am reminded that our love is the most powerful force I have. You are the reason I continue to fight, the reason I am determined to navigate through this treacherous maze, even when every step feels like a betrayal of the closeness we so desperately crave. I want to be absolutely clear. Nothing you have done has triggered this situation. It is not a consequence of any shortcomings on your part or a failure of our relationship. In fact, if anything, it is your presence that has made you a target. The love and happiness we share are the very things that have attracted these negative forces. They are drawn to the radiance of what we have, not out of admiration, but out of a bitter jealousy that fuels their desire to see us falter. It pains me to see you become vulnerable simply because you are so essential to me, and it is this cruel irony that has forced me to take the steps I have. Every moment apart from you feels like a wound that refuses to heal, a constant reminder that the world can be a brutal and unforgiving place. I am haunted by the thought that by being near me, you might become collateral damage in a war you never asked to fight. And so, with a heavy heart and a resolve born out of pure love, I have decided to keep my distance until I can dismantle the threat that looms over us. This decision